This fall 2025, Frederick, with a GPA of 2.5, will start his Masters in Information and Communication Sciences at Ball State University. He was given a graduate assistantship which covers his tuition and also provide him with stipends. So it is not just about the GPA, it is about what you do with what you have. The GPA is very helpful, but there is more to a good application. Now, here is the truth. If you have a low GPA, you can still get good funding to come to the US, but you have to do the right things. You have to put in a lot of work. It's about crafting a statement of purpose that tells your story. It's about building a resume that aligns your academic and career experiences. It's about getting strong recommendation letters. It's about doing an evaluation depending on your situation. It's about taking the GRE depending on your program of interest and your GPA. It's about taking the SAT if you want a full undergraduate scholarship. It's about applying to the right schools based on your background and academic credentials. In my one-on-one visa interview coaching program, I have come across students who told me they applied to schools I recommended and they got full funding to start this fall 2025. One of those students even told me that she went for the visa interview a year ago and she was denied because she didn't have any funding. And so she went through the list I suggested and she applied to two of them or so, and now she has full funding to come to the US. The study abroad process is also about doing the right research, even if it means sleepless nights. It's about starting the process early and submitting your best work. I have a lot of great videos to help you get started on this channel. I like to push students to give their best because funding is very competitive. Any scholarship that is automatic is a small amount. Good funding requires you to submit an application that stands out. For your application to stand out, you have to treat the whole process seriously. I am not here to lie to you or sugarcoat anything so that you will like me. I am here to tell you what works and how to avoid wasting money, energy, and time. I don't want anyone coming to the US and suffering, especially if your family isn't rich. That is why I try to provide you with all the right information to help you get good funding and help you pass your visa interview. Everything in life requires work. The more work you put into the process, the greater the reward on your investment. There are no shortcuts in life, just smart, consistent efforts. So if you are new here, consider subscribing to the channel so that you get all the reliable information that can make your dreams come true. Also, check out my ShaiPod channel, which is my podcast where I interview international students about their journeys from admissions to life abroad. I do my best to ask them the questions you want answers to. I've also created WhatsApp groups where you can connect with other students who are also on their study abroad journey. Many of them are happy to share insights and answer questions based on their experience. I also have a Telegram group where I give students the opportunity for free mock interviews on my YouTube channel. You just have to be in the Telegram group, and when I request for details, you just have to send the details to me or to my assistant. All right, now it's time for us to kick off today's live session. Drop your questions in the chat, tell me where you're watching this from, and share the live session with a friend who needs this. I will also appreciate it if you give this live session a like. It helps the channel a lot. Hi guys, welcome to today's mock session. If you are new here, consider subscribing to the channel. So today is going to be the last but one mock session, and then we are going to switch to study abroad sessions. So yeah, after today, we'll we would have to wait until mid-November, I think, before we go back to mock sessions. Okay. So let me know where you're watching this from, and don't forget to give this live session a like. If you have any question about anything, it can be study abroad, you can just leave it in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Today I have 4 students that I'm going to interview, and they had all joined before the session started. For some reasons, I don't see any of them right now. I don't know what's going on. Don't know why. Yeah, so Mary's here. There are 3 other students that I'm expecting. These people had already joined, and yeah, so let's see how that goes. I don't know why Mary also left. What's going on? Well, I hope you guys are able to resolve whatever thing that is going on there. Um, yeah. Mary, can you hear me? Hello, Mary. Hello, Alex. Hello, Alex. What's going on? Hello, Alex. Oh, what's happening today. Last week too, we had a similar issue. Rosalind, and then Sandra, and then Coco, and then Kehinde, and then MJC. So, who can hear me? Coco is Samira too. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
can hear
remember
you. I
Coco
can
told
hear
me
you,
she's
Shay.
Samira too. And then, so just so that I know, Onyedikechi, what is going on? Why do you guys keep leaving and rejoining? Do you know why?
Oh, I apologize for that, Shay. My connection went bad, so I had to toggle the whole router all over again. I
Mm.
apologize.
It's fine. I just wanted to know what's going on. What about Mary? Can you hear me? Is Mary there? Huh. Mary, are you there? Okay, then I guess I'm going to start with Onyedikechi. Onyedikechi, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, so where are you going?
I will be going to the United States to pursue my Masters of Science in Business Analytics program at Brandeis International Business School in Brandeis University. I got into five very good universities in the United States. I was able to get into the University of Pittsburgh, Lehigh University, Brandeis University, Virginia Commonwealth University, University of Dallas, and University of the Potomac with varying amounts of scholarship. But I ultimately chose Brandeis for three major reasons. One of the reasons I chose Brandeis is because the program itself relates directly to my goals and the role I plan to occupy back in my country, Nigeria, as a business development manager in Okazi Finance Limited. Courses
Um,
like Python,
okay, go on.
okay, courses like Python, applied econometrics, and big data will give me enough knowledge on how to analyze real world business data and also how to understand customer behavior as well as competitor behavior to be able to know what product is most profitable and competitive in the agency environment of Okazi Finance. Aside
Okay, you don't
from
have
that,
to mention the name of the company. Okay, that was what I was trying. You can just say ABC company. Okay.
okay, in ABC company. Apart from that, it also teach me on how to run targeted marketing campaigns to the most profitable audience amongst our customer or amongst our current customers. So aside from that one reason, the second reason why I picked Brandeis University or XYZ University is because during the admissions events or virtual events, the students at Brandeis and the admission committee really wanted to know about me and know how I could best fit into the community. So that gave me a sense of belonging to the university. The third reason why I picked Brandeis was because I got a 55% tuition waiver from the school, which reduced my tuition from $71,881 to $16,881. So that made the program not only feasible but also rewarding for me.
Okay. The thing is that you've said so many things, but you've not even actually told me why you need a program. That is not something I have heard. You've said different things about the school, but I have not heard why you actually Little. Okay. Well, you kind of hinted that. Right? Yeah, I think I heard that actually. So, what is your current job? I know I'll give my comments very soon. But what is your current job?
Okay, I'm currently a business development intern at Okazi Finance Limited. I started working there November last year and I've been there up until now.
When did you finish your bachelor's degree?
I finished my bachelor's degree last year, 2024, August to be precise,
What did you study?
and I studied economics, my undergrad. And the way economics is related to business analytics, like economics is the study of human behavior in relation to ends and scarce means.
Business
But then
development. Business development intern. What do you do?
as a business development intern, I engaged with uh, prospective loan clients. I was involved in going to the field to conduct field visits for loan and collateral assessments. I evaluated clients and guarantor businesses, and I also built referral relationship, meaning that when I went to evaluate clients' businesses, I told them to tell their fellow businessmen about the company and
Is your
and
company
about our
sponsoring you?
no, my company is not sponsoring me. My parents will be sponsoring the deficit. I got a 55%, a $55,000 tuition waiver that reduced my tuition to $16,881 from $71,881.
What is your
My
cost of
parents will be sponsor.
attendance?
My cost of attendance is $71,881.
So what is your deficit?
My deficit is $16,881 after my scholarship of $45,000. And my parents will be sponsoring the deficit.
No, hold on,
My
hold
dad
on,
is
hold
a
on. If your scholarship is 47, 45 plus 16, that is going to be,
55
your scholarship is $55,000.
thousand dollars. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes. So
So you have a
I got a
deficit of,
scholarship. 18
okay.
$16,881.
Okay. Well, I think I was hearing tuition also, but it's not tuition. It's actually, you will probably want to say your cost of attendance. Okay, I see. Yeah, the fact that you have funding it helps a lot. But so the reason I asked you if the company is sponsoring you is, okay, your parents, what do they do?
My dad is a fellow chartered accountant. He has been a chartered accountant for the past 30
Is it for the
years
government?
for himself and for private institutions. And he's also a consultant. He consults for major top firms in Nigeria like SIO, Delta Inland Revenue Service, amongst other
Okay,
top firms in the country.
yeah, that is a credible sponsor. So he's sponsoring you with
And
sixteen
my mom
thousand.
too. And my
Yeah.
mom is also a sponsor. My mom is an executive director of the firm I interned in, Okazi Finance Limited. She was part of the co-founders of the company, and she makes about 60 million naira per annum. And they both collectively owe them extra
Okay, so
income.
yeah, I think I have an idea of your profile, and so let me just give you what I think about everything so far. Okay.
Okay.
Um. So what I will, I gave you more, maybe more than 5 minutes to tell me where you are going. That is so much time that you are not going to be afforded that time, right? So
Yes.
what I want you to do is go straight to the point. Go, like, talk about exactly what you want to do. So you want to highlight on your main advantages. Where you are intending, when you told me your mom is in when you told me you are intending at, well, ABC company, you could have just said where your mom is a shareholder, so that I know why you are intending there. And on your DX1 for me, there's going to be clear that you graduated last year, so it's not been such a long time. And in a way, I mean, intending there, it's not really a big deal. No, ideally, your mom being a shareholder should probably mean you should be working there normally, but I guess we just, intending is also not too bad like that, I guess. um Maybe, it's okay for the company to make you work as an intern for a while before being employed. I think that can be understood. Your reason for studying the program, if I were you, I tell you I'm going to ABC University to study this, I'll just go ahead and talk about why I want to study the program. Maybe the company generates a lot of data, which is uh, which um which is analyzed using so wh- which is analyzed using maybe traditional software or something, or you don't even have to talk about how it is analyzed. You can just say your company generates a lot of data and you want to study this program to be able uh to use maybe advanced Python frameworks or something to analyze this data sets in order to help the company understand the behavior of its customers. And yeah, I'll probably that can be well, maybe it's also because I've not asked you so why do you really want to study the program?
Three main reasons. Aside from the fact that I got a
That
$55,000 tuition
45,000
waiver.
scholarship thing, don't talk about it. The thing is, I keep telling students, you need to know where you come from. Talk about the program. The funding is already on the I-20. The visa officer has already seen that. That is already an advantage. It's an implicit reason why you choose a school. Funding is always helpful, even if you are from a rich home. Funding is always important. So the visa officer has already seen that funding is a consideration for you. So, but the point is, don't make it because of the funding. Make it because of the program. Why the program? Why do you want to study the program? What would the program do for you? Not the funding. Forget about the funding. And all these three reasons, just yeah, you can say three reasons, but then go ahead and tell me the most important thing for you first, and then you can talk about other things if you are given the time. So why do you want to study the program?
The main reason is the first reason. The fact that the program directly relates to the role I want to occupy in the company as a business development manager. I will get enough analytical or technical skills that will be useful to that role. In my first semester, I'll be taking certain courses like information visualization, Python for business analytics, and also introduction to data analytics. These programs will give me skills in Python, applied econometrics, and it will teach me how to analyze big data that will be useful in the company itself. And that's actually the main reason why I want to study this program, because you need to know how to understand how your customers are behaving, or the trend in how your customers are behaving based on what the data is saying, and also the trend on how your competition is behaving, to be able to
So
know what.
I mean, sometimes you just need like two, three lines. You can have long
Okay.
answers given a time, but some of the things it's like you linger on one thing for. So yeah, your reason for you can say your reason for you want to study this program because of your interest in using data to in your interest in using data to understand uh customer behavior or in making business decisions.
Okay.
And in your current role, you've seen that your company generates a lot of data, and you think this program will give you the skills to be able to use modern machine learning or Python tools, frameworks to be able to analyze this data and generate, better insights. And yeah, so straight to the point, and that is why you choose your current school, because your school's business analytics program, um you know then you can talk about the school itself.
Okay.
Maybe the school is well known for its data analytics program, or the school um has a specialization in Python, or given that you have funding, you can also go the route that people use. Just because you have funding, you can say, you get to work with Professor AB on the use of ABC to, understand consumer decisions and, stuff like that. I would
Okay.
just, so my point is just go straight to the point, summarize your answers, make sure you
Okay.
have first, everything is.
condensed into your first two lines, and then you can have 10 other lines if given the time, but everything else has to be the first two, three lines. Very
So
straightforward.
try not to be too long.
Yeah, it's like,
Don't talk too much.
yeah, just go straight to the point. Not like don't talk too much, but more like hit on the most important points in your first three sentences. That's the whole point. Because these days, the
Okay.
visual says the number of people they interview has gone up, and they don't have time to listen to a lot of people. So you wanna be very clear in two, three lines exactly what you wanna do. And yeah, that is what I can tell you. So once you have funding, I don't, and your father is a credible sponsor, your parents, they are credible sponsors. So it means that in terms of your finances, everything is already taken care of. Where you intend makes sense to me because, I mean, your mom is a shareholder, and it's okay that you've not been there for too long. If you've been intending for more than 2 years, I will have an issue with it. I'll be like, why, for more than 2 years, why have you not been employed yet? So that's okay in my opinion. So yeah, this one, it is for me to look at the most important aspect of your responses, and I think I'm generally satisfied. Where you come from is that funding is the most important aspect of the visa interview. Funding is extremely important when it comes to Africans. So
Okay.
yeah, so good luck to you. Okay.
Thank you.
um yeah, now let's go to Mary. Mary, are you there? Hello, Mary. Mary, are you there? Okay. Queen Raymond, I haven't seen you in a while. Huh. Uh, increase the volume. Is it my volume? Mary, are you there? Alex, can you hear me? So, Taddy, 2 months ago, due to miscommunication from your mild hearing loss, despite a full graduate assistantship, I've reapplied and my next interview is on the 15th of August. I see. Yeah, I mean, if you have any condition before you are interviewed, you can actually tell the visa officer that you have ABC condition, and the visa officer will be kind enough to speak loudly so that you'll be able to hear well and respond appropriately. Like it's just you can tell the visa officer, and so in your next visa interview, as soon as you get to the window, you can tell the visa officer that, oh, I have hearing loss and or something, and mild hearing loss, and I will really appreciate it if you know you can speak a bit louder to me. That's fine. That's a nice thing to say. There isn't anything wrong with that. Or I would like to request that you speak a little louder to me or something. Yeah. And the fact that you've been denied before, you want to put something nice in your DX1C form so that you can actually avoid certain questions. Like just the way it is. It will help you avoid certain questions. Right. The visa officer is not likely to ask you what has changed. Most of the students, almost all the students I coach, they are never asked why what has changed. So long as they put something, if you don't put it there, they will ask you. But if you put something reasonable there, they are not going to ask you anything at all. So Eric, I've added you so many times, and right now I don't see you here. The thing is, I don't know what is going on with you guys. If you try to join, I will add you. Just because you were here before we started the lives, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. Vic- Victory says, "Hi, Shai. I wanted to ask if an external scholarship from my home government could be seen as a red flag." Well, some of these things, it depends, right? I don't even know your country. If the government has established credibility for honoring these scholarship commitments, then the visa officers, they will accept it. But if the government has not been making these payments, these scholarship payments, right, to the students and then to the universities, and it has come to the attention of the embassy, right? Then yeah, that can go against you. But I don't see anything wrong with government scholarships. Government scholarships are as good as a scholarship from the school. They are the same thing. Okay, because it's not about this scholarship is good or this scholarship is bad. No, it's about the credibility of the scholarship. So even if my parents are sponsoring me, so long as your parents are credible, it's just the same as a scholarship from the school. That's how it is. If I have a company, just like the case of Boniface, if I have a company and I can show that I have a company and the company is generating money and that all of that, yes, of course. If I present that funding story to the visa officer, it is just as good as a scholarship from the school. So yeah, it's not like a scholarship is good or bad or something. The only thing is that, which is the advantage of having a scholarship, is that the school has given you that scholarship. So you don't really have to prove that the scholarship is true or false, or because it is coming from the school, so you know that. But then when it comes to parents, sometimes the visa officer is not convinced that what you are saying is true about your parents, or there is not enough information online about your parents, or maybe different names and stuff like that. All these things can play out. So once you can establish the credibility of your sponsors, you'll be approved, even if it's an uncle and there is a good reason why your uncle is sponsoring you, based on history and stuff like that, then you are going to be approved. So yeah, it's not one thing, or it just depends. So cry Joseph, so how far with your application stuff? Are you coming this fall? Okay, Ernest is here. I know Ernest. Ernest, good to see you. Uncle Sana says, haven't got volleyball scholarship offer from a school. Should I use this as a reason for choosing the college? Well, I mean, we even the fact that you have a volleyball scholarship doesn't mean you're coming to the school to play volleyball, right? It's because you want to study the program and your talent has given you the scholarship. So I will always focus on the scholarship. I will always focus on the school, the program, what the program is about. Yeah, the scholarship then is still there, but yeah, I will focus on the program. What you want to do. That's what I If the visa officer is into sports, then the visa officer will find it interesting. A lot of Americans, they are actually into sports. So yeah, you might, yeah, but for me, I'll play it safe and focus on the program. That's what I will do. Okay, so Mary, are you there? Mary. So Safa is here, which is Nanekia. Um so Alex, can you hear me? Alex, so you guys, if you are struggling to join, you probably want to switch to your phone, because sometimes with the computers, because of the browser you may be using, it might not be compatible with the software. I don't know, maybe that could be the thing. But I think for the browsers, if you are using Google Chrome or Safari, those two I know they work. I don't know about the other browsers, so sometimes you want to check your default browser. Maybe that could be causing the issue.
I
So
hear you, but your voice is breaking. I think
yeah,
it's because of my network.
yeah, I guess. But can you hear me now? Because I can hear you for the first time. Alex Alex has left. So yeah, so what's going on? I don't see anybody here. Amma says I have joined the studio but can't hear you. So Amma, just like I said, if you are using Amma, I actually heard you before we started the session, so I don't know what's going on right now, which means that it has nothing to do with your browser. My guess would be your network. So you want to check your network. Okay, so Amma, can you hear me now?
Yes, please, I can hear you now.
Okay, so what are you going to study?
I'm going to study a Master of Health Administration at the University of Central Florida. This program it's a 51 credit hour program, and it encompasses the business aspect of healthcare. In my first year, I'll be taking courses in international
So,
healthcare.
you don't if you want, you can end it at I'm going to study ABC. I'm going to study health administration at ABC University, which is in there. You can mention the name of the city. You can end it there. You don't have to push it. If you want to push it, you want to rather talk about why you want to study the program. All this 51 credit hours, and you said it encompasses. You want to be very careful because if you struggle to pronounce the words, it might not look good on you, right? So you want to make sure you can pronounce the word before you use that word during the interview. Okay, so that is something. Um, the credit hours, all those things, they are not important. The courses, they are not important. You want to focus on your why you want to study the program. So why do you want to study the program? Hello, Amma. Hello, Amma.
Hello, hello, please. So I aim to open a clinic in Koforidua. I'm an impact-driven person, and I believe that I need to extend beyond my role as a pharmacist to make a positive impact.
Amma, you want to start again? Okay, start again for me. Okay, so
So please, you asked.
why do you want to study the program?
So I want to study the Master of Health Administration because my goal is to bridge the gap between rural and urban healthcare access. I aim to open a clinic upon my completion of studies in Ghana, specifically Koforidua. I'm an impact driven person, and I believe that I need to extend beyond my role as a pharmacist to make a positive impact in the health industry. By pursuing a Master of Health Service Administration, I'll gain the skills to address the administrative and
What
operational
is your current job?
challenges. So I work as a local pharmacist at Pharmacy, and I'm the general secretary of the Evikara of X. In my role, I dispense medications. I resolve medication related problems. As
So,
my role
when did
as
you
its
finish your
secretary,
bachelor's degree?
2023, please.
Okay, and you've been working as a pharmacist, which means you studied pharmacy, right?
Yes,
Bachelor's degree in
please.
pharmacy. Okay. So my only thing is, you said you want to open a hospital in Ghana. Why? How are you going to get the money to open a hospital?
So from the courses I'll be taking, such as health economics, health finance, and health risk management, I aim to reach out to donor companies to help, and then partnership to help raise funds for the clinic.
You want to study health administration and you want to open a hospital. Which means you will need doctors. This is an expensive venture. You want to be very careful about this. I don't think that is a good idea. That you want to study the program because you want to open a hospital. That doesn't sound good to me. It's like it's you are being over ambitious about this. Because yeah, you cannot say you want to study the program because you want to open a hospital. Meanwhile, you are working for somebody currently. So opening a hospital is not an easy venture, honestly. You probably want to say, working as a pharmacist at ABC, you have seen the operational challenges that health facilities in Ghana, face, and you want to study this program, or you can say you want to study this program because of your interest in health in health issues or something, right? You want to study this program because of your interest in health issues. In your role as a pharmacist, you have seen the operational challenges that hospitals in Ghana, face, and this is something that you believe the ABC skills you are going to learn from the program will help you um, contribute to maybe resolving those issues. What I'm saying is just me saying something on top of my head. It's not like perfect. You can sit down and then craft something, but I'm just
I
trying to say,
understand. Thank you.
yeah, I'm just trying to say go straight to the point. And you can see in the long term, you wanna open up a hospital, if there is a model way of running a hospital, which the program is going to equip you with. So it's like, what I mean by model ways, you know, businesses are run in different ways. So maybe currently the Ghanaian hospitals are not running the hospitals in the way that US hospitals are doing that. And you think the US model, there can be a name for that. So you want to model, you want to, have your own hospital, run it the ABC way, using the ABC model, because you think that it's more effective, right? And stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is that the hospital you want to open should be a long-term thing. That, okay, this is something of interest to you, but it's a long-term thing. And don't spend too much time about the hospital you want to open and stuff. Go straight to the point. It is your interest, and your role, your current role is in pharmacy, and you have seen those challenges. You want to stay the health administration, because we know health administration has to do with, operations and managing a hospital and stuff like that, right? Managing a health facility, stuff like that. So you want to, yeah, I think anyone who hears this will be like, okay, this person is a genuine student in a way, because yeah, this is the problem she wants to address, and she needs this degree, and yeah, that kind of thing, right? How are you going to fund your studies?
I've been awarded a graduate assistantship which covers 100% of my tuition and health insurance with a monthly stipend. The deficit will be covered by my father, who is the owner of X company. He makes an annual income of
How much is your
$12,000,
deficit?
$7,382.
Okay. You said your dad makes $12,000.
Yes, please.
What about you?
$5,000, please. In a But my dad he's committed to, since my 6 years of studies, he's committed to helping me in my career development. So this is something that he wants to cover for me.
Okay. Your deficit, you said it was 6,000, right?
7,382.
Okay. If I were you, I mean, if you tell me this, I may just deny your visa if I were a visa officer, because if your dad makes $12,000 and he's spending $7,000 on you, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, unless you tell me that maybe he has saved up maybe $20,000 or something, or maybe $15,000 for your studies, then fine. But if you tell me if your dad makes 12,000, then how much is he going to spend on rent? How much is he going to spend on food, on other, you know, responsibilities? Do you have siblings?
Yes, please. My older sibling she's moved out, she works at a hospital at home. And my younger brother, he's also working with my dad at the moment.
So what does your dad do? You don't have to tell me the name of a company, but more like, what does he
Yes,
do?
so he's into the import and export of Mercedes-Benz parts, and he retails it to customers or individuals.
Okay. So if I were you, I would not even talk about what my dad does, right? I would probably just say, I have been awarded a graduate assistantship of, maybe, how much is that graduate assistantship amount?
18,380.
So I've been awarded a graduate assistantship of 18,000, which leaves me with a deficit of 7,300, which will be covered by my dad, who is into the importation of whatever, all those things, Benz, stuff like that. Then I will not go into how much. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that his annual income is too small for you to mention under any circumstance. It is not a good idea, in my opinion. So I'll probably say, this funding or this assistantship was based on then you talk about how you got the funding. That is how I will approach this. Instead of, because it will be better for you to even present an uncle who makes $50,000 a year, sponsoring you with $7,000, than to present a dad who makes $12,000 a year. So whatever you make, however sense you make out of this, that's up to you, right? But this is what my opinion on this. The thing is that you can try to avoid mentioning how much your dad does, how much your dad makes, but if it comes up and then you have to mention, then of course you have to mention. But what I'm saying is, mentioning it that it's $12,000 is not a good idea. It's not. It doesn't make your dad a credible sponsor. That's what I would say. Um. So that is something you want to think about. I just think, you know, if you can even sponsor yourself, that is actually going to, make a better story. It kind of shows that you've actually committed to the process and you've actually invested in the process. You are actually ready to invest into your own education in a way that can help. Than, if you make $12,000 and then you are sponsoring yourself with, let's say, $5,000. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you've been making some savings towards that. But
Okay,
and the
thank
other
you.
thing I can, yeah, the other thing I can tell you is that there is almost 95% chance that the visa officer will not ask you for a bank statement. There is almost like 95% chance that the visa officer will not ask you for a bank statement. So, but I don't know, right? But when it comes to the visa interview, you wanna be prepared for everything, because on the day of the interview, it is possible that somebody may anger the visa officer such that those who follow, if they are not able to present a good story and a good financial story, they could be denied. So that is where, even though normally they don't look at the bank statements, your bank statements could become an important thing, right? Once in a while, you're not likely to be asked, but just in case, right? That's what I'm saying. What are your plans after your studies in the US?
Plan to return to Ghana. I will be returning to Ghana to take up a role as a hospital administrator. The US offers a global perspective and international exposure, which will provide me with a competitive advantage when I intend to take up a role in hospital administration. In the long term goal, I plan on opening a clinic with the courses I've studied in international healthcare, human resource
So,
management, health, finance, and
so
economics.
health administrator. Where are you taking a role as a health administrator? Where? How? Why? What makes you think you can get a role as a health administrator? Mary.
Based on my professional background as a pharmacist, I believe that I can take up a role as a hospital administrator
Pharmacist
in.
and health administration are two different things. You are coming to study health administration, yet you think your background as a pharmacist is the one going to help you take up a role as a health administrator. That doesn't make sense to me.
So, in currently where I work, I've noticed that there are lots of medication stock out and resource allocation challenges. So, with this program, I can take up a major role of the hospital administrator where
Do you work in a
I
hospital?
can balance. No, I did my housemanship in the hospital,
So what makes you
so I was
think?
exposed to these challenges.
Yeah. So then, why are you saying your? So what? Okay. Let me just come in. What I'm trying to say is, you can say something like, the, you've not told me what makes you qualified to get a role as a health administrator after you complete the program. So you probably want to say, upon completion of the program, I would have gained XYZ skills, which will help me take up a role as a health administrator. In The thing is that when it comes to some of these things, because your current job is not in a hospital, it's okay to mention any hospital dream of working. There is nothing wrong with that. What I'm trying to say is you want to highlight the things that the program would have taught you, would have, you know, equipped you with. Then you can now talk about where exactly, because yeah, you don't have to necessarily go back to where you are working. It doesn't have to be like that. It's about being clear about w- the kind of role you are interested in, and the kind of company, because yes, you're coming back to apply. It's not like anybody finishes the program and automatically they are given a job, they return, and then the job is there waiting for them. No, you are going to apply. But what is going to make you qualify is the skills. What are you going to get from the program? So you want to highlight those things before the role. That's my way of, you know, in the past, yeah, you can just say I'll take up a role, but then the thing, everybody's saying the same thing, and some of these answers, yeah, they sound too memorable. Everybody's saying, oh, I'll return to Ghana, and it kind of sounds artificial. It's like, oh yeah, you return to Ghana. Everybody's saying the same thing, but you wanna highlight the skills that by the end of the program you would have gained skills in ABC, and with these skills you'll be able to take up a role as a health administrator at ABC hospital, and where you'll be able to implement XYZ. In the long run, your goal is to open a hospital to according to the model of, or which will be modeled in the form of like something like that. Okay. So Mary, I think I've spent a lot of time on you. So good luck to you. If you take everything I've told you, I think everything will make sense. Your funding, you have assistantship, but you still have to work on your funding, because what you presented to me, yeah, will not make your dad a credible sponsor. Okay. Especially if you go ahead and then you mention that this is how much he makes in a year. Yeah, that is nobody's going to believe that. Okay. So good luck to you,
Thank
Mary.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah. So Safal says, please, do you think it's safe to apply straight for PhD with a bachelor's degree? Well, when it comes to PhD applications, it depends. It's always, the thing is that if your program requires a GRE, or if they say GRE is optional, if you have it, then yes, GRE. And if you have a paper, without a master's degree, those two things I think should tell you whether to apply to the school or not. Yeah, it also depends on the competition. You may not have any of these two, but you can still apply and get into a good PhD program. It depends. It depends on your SOP. This is where your SOP can very important. What kind of research are you interested in doing? A groundbreaking research that you are interested in doing, and how is that important to you, right? If you can articulate that very well, then that can also help you get into a PhD program. But ideally, when it comes to PhD, you want to pay attention to GRE and then a paper. A lot of people, they got into PhD without papers. I got into PhD without any paper. So yeah, it's not, yeah, it depends. It depends on, but you want to spend a lot of time on your SOP and then your GRE. It also depends on your GPA and all these other things. It depends on the competition. So the study abroad process, it depends on so many things, right? It depends on, yeah, having any of these things. Eric, are you there?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So Highline says I requested for later arrival approval, and my school has sent me the later arrival letter. Should the I-20 be updated also? If I-20 should be updated, how will I approach this at the interview? No, at the interview, you just have to tell the visa officer that you have a later arrival letter. That's all. Because um, the later arrival letter is more like an information that is entered into your service record. So it's not a letter that is going to necessarily be given to you. Sometimes they can give you a letter to show that, oh, the school is permitting you to arrive late, but technically it is what is entered into the system by the international office. So once you request for it, they will enter something into the system, and that's all. At the interview, you can say you requested for the later arrival letter from the school, and they approved it, and they told you can arrive on ABC dates. That works easily. Okay. All right. Um. So Eric, what is the name of the school you are going to?
I am going for my fully funded PhD program at the University of Missouri, Columbia.
Okay. Why? Uh, give me a second. I'm cleaning the thing and uh, looks like I wrote a lot of things when I was talking to Mary. Sometimes I'll write something and I might not even be able to tell the student because yeah, the way I write like a doctor. So sometimes I might not even see. Okay. Eric, yeah, where are you going again? Eric,
I I have been awarded a free funded graduate research assistantship to pursue PhD in civil engineering with a concentration in environmental engineering at the University of Missouri.
why do you want to study this program?
I want to study civil engineering, specifically environmental engineering, because they have research opportunities in bio-waste and also bioenergy production, which align with the growing waste to energy and resource recovery production sector here in my country. And also, I have
The
done
question I
research.
asked you, the question I ask you is why do you want to study the program? Not maybe I don't know if maybe that's not what I said, but what I meant to say, if that is what I said, what I meant to say is why do you want to study the program? Why do you want to study civil engineering? Not why the school.
Yes, I want to study civil engineering because of uh, the research opportunities we get. For example, we have work with in energy and resource recovery, and the research
Why do you
experience
need
that
a
we get
degree?
will allow
Why
me.
do you need a degree?
I need a degree because I want to develop the waste to energy resource recovery production sector in the country, and also
In your
I
country,
want to.
what is your country?
I'm from Rwanda.
Rwanda.
Mm.
Um, so you want to mention your country? Don't say in your country. Just say Rwanda. In Rwanda, or you can just say here in Rwanda. So that is okay. In like here in Rwanda. Okay. What is your current job?
Currently, I'm not working.
How long have you not been working? When was the last time you had a
Uh,
job?
is I am I currently I actually am studying, but I have from, let me say, from September last year, I enrolled a PhD program, but I want to transfer to University of Missouri to university.
So in your DS1C form, is it there that you want to transfer? Okay, DS1, the
In
DS1C, there is nothing like that, right? Is there something like
in no,
the educational stuff? Is it current education or is it schools you have completed, or does it have something like school? The school you are currently studying is studying. Is there something like that? Some of these things I make a video and I forget.
the school I'm currently studying, I enrolled in their PhD program last year September, and but I was looking for a specific research
So why are you transferring?
position, which,
Why are you transferring?
yeah, I want to transfer because in my current school I was not able to find a research position in energy and resource recovery, which is the my research interest because it aligned with my master's studies, or I mean my master's research I've done there, and also aligned with my goals. So I was able to get that position at at that university in the US, and also I would like to pursue that program because it, it is like a better fit compared to where I'm currently.
So why didn't you find that out before starting the program?
Yeah, it was because before starting a program, I was not sure whether we get admission from the universities I applied in the US. So I got admission when I was already in the program.
I'm not sure if that is a good answer. Why? Okay. Yeah. The thing is that you are not working, so which means that you being in school is an important point, and you being in school is an important point means that you should be able to um your reason about research opportunities. Yeah, I think you might be able to work saying that you when you started the program you found out that the research opportunities in energy resource that you were looking for were not available in the school, and so you decided to look at the universities which have that, and so that is when you came across University of Missouri. But the thing is, um if you say you applied, you didn't know whether you got admission, whether you get admission, and so you applied, and then now when you started the PhD program you got admission. That doesn't sound like that doesn't sound good to me. So I don't know. How did you get there? You said you've been awarded fully funded uh assistantship. Did you get any? Do you have any deficits?
No, I don't have any deficit.
How did you get the funding?
I submitted uh, a competitive application package which included my 3.6 out of 4 GPA in my Masters of Environmental Engineering, and also I have two research papers by which one I published in a top journal in environmental engineering field, and also the other one is now under revision in also one of the selective journal in our field. I was also recommended by three professors, including my former supervisor from my master program, with whom I worked with in 2 months in his lab.
Okay, yeah, that's good. You said you are specializing in something. What is it? What is the name of it? Of that thing again?
I'm specializing in bioenergy conversion, basically
Energy
by
conversion.
taking by biofuel conversion into renewable energy. For example, by converting biowaste into biogas or other type of biofuel, such as biohydrogen, and also converting the bioresources into biofertilizers, and also, for example, biopesticides, or that kind of things.
Mm, okay. What are your plans after your studies?
My plan after my studies, I hope to gain the necessary skills and research experience to contribute to the waste to energy and recovery production, which is now currently a growing sector in my country. And also, I want to be a researcher at one of the university in Rwanda, specifically for developing the advanced technologies for bioenergy recovery and also resource recovery pathways. Uh, in addition, the energy and resource recovery uh, industries here in my country is
I think you have.
uh,
I think you have a very good chance. So good luck to you. Okay. So,
could I
um,
ask you about the thing is like the fact that I'm in a PhD program, it's really I'm not getting how I can explain this really clearly. No,
uh,
because in the DS1 I mentioned that I am studying, like that I'm studying, and I just mentioned I'm a student studying at the XX University, like that.
Mm, yeah. If you watch this again, you see that I mentioned certain things, so you can try to see what I said. Okay, about why you are transferring. Okay. So good luck to you.
Uh, Thank you.
You wanna ask again?
Yes, because I want to ask you, for example, like I didn't get any letter from the school for transferring, things like that. I'm wondering if, for example, they ask me a letter, what that couldn't be a red flag. Oh,
No, if you wanna transfer to the thing is there are two ways. There are two things. One is you can transfer credits and you can start afresh. In your case, it looks like starting afresh, right?
yeah.
If you are starting afresh, you don't need any letter. You don't need to transfer anything. So then you can just give that explanation that you are starting from the beginning, and so you have not transferred credits. Okay, and that works. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Mm. So Alex, I don't know what's going on with Alex. Alex, can you hear me? Alex, once we get to 1 hour, it means that we are getting ready to end the live session. So I've interviewed three people. Only Alex is left. Alex, can you hear me? Alex, this is strange. Um, hello, Alex, Alexander. Yeah, Alex. So you're the last person that I want to interview. If I'm not able to hear you in the next 2 minutes, then we end the live session. Let's go into the comment section. I believe I've answered all the comments, all the questions in the comment section. Um, yeah, I think so. So Alex has already left. So let me just give him 1 or 2 minutes. If I don't hear from him, then I'll just end the session. Okay. Yeah, Alex is not likely to join. Yeah, so I wanted to spend like 10 minutes with Alex and see what he has prepared, but uh, let me answer this last question and then end the live session. So, Faith says, Aisha, if you have a sponsor who is retired and wants to use their savings to sponsor, is that a red flag? So it depends on who is that sponsor. Sometimes when you guys you give big questions, right? It's like, who is that sponsor? How is the person related to you? Is it your parent? What was the person doing before retirement, right? That can help. All of these things. What are you coming to study? How much is the person sponsoring? What is your cost of attendance? Do you have any scholarship? What have you been doing? Why do you want to study the program? It's so many things, that we have to consider before we can make a decision. Well, maybe give a recommendation as to whether the person is credible or not. So it is not straightforward like that. Sometimes students ask you questions and they omit a lot of details, but they expect you to somehow be able to conjure an answer for them. But that's not how it works. Okay, so please, the question is not clear enough for me to be able to tell you definitely that it's a red flag or not. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so all right, so thanks so much for your time.